All right, so welcome everybody. My name is Marvin Theodore, and we're going to commit ourselves to going through 30 days of understanding what mindful Zen habits are and why they matter so much in our lives today, especially today when we do not seem to have a control over our thoughts, our happiness levels. We expect things outside to adhere to what makes us well inside, while in reality it's what we could muscle in from the inside as a habit that enables us to deal with the outside circumstances. So let's begin. Day one. All right, so here it's mentioning that even with this news that we will be able to live over 100 years with all the technologies that we have, people are becoming unhappier and unhappier. Depression and suicide rates have multiplied in the past decades. And also the use of antidepressants. Well, that is true. They're saying that the average age right now for today is actually 14 and a half to start getting antidepressants. And 50 years ago, it was 29. So clearly something is not happening in our lifestyle habits. And also mentioning that the divorce rate is actually at its highest point at 60% divorce rate. And that's actually the first question I could remember ever asking myself as a child is why there's so many divorces. My answer to that with everything I've learned so far is why wouldn't there be such high divorces when people are divorced from themselves? Ooh. And I like Carl Jung's book that talks about the undiscovered self, where we're living this herd mentality where we think that we're free of doing whatever we want without realizing that we're enslaved into things that we do not even realize. And we're living outside of our true unique potential, which is having the courage to be ourselves. So here to go, they mentioned that science is on our side. In the last 2 decades, there was a revolution in the field of psychology. And some of the best psychologists found out that happiness is not something that comes from the outside, our external circumstances, but depends much more on our habits, our thoughts, our beliefs, and our attitude than we ever thought. Beautiful. Love that. So it's all about choosing to be happy by having a control over our attentions. But the thing why we're getting in so much arguments with others and ourselves is because we're reactive. So we cannot choose where we want our attention to go. It automatically goes wherever the stimulus comes from. So we've lost our ability to choose where we send our attention, thus losing our ability to choose the emotions and the feelings that we want to have. Oh, I like this part here. They're mentioning that naturally happiness is something very intimate and personal. Yes. And everyone has a different definition of it. Yes, only you know what true happiness and what the real definition of love is that we expect, once again, someone else on the outside of us, that only knows us superficially, and we don't even know ourselves that deeply, how much effort we put into it. We expect them to be able to kind of guess what our inner desires are when we don't even know what our inner desires are. It's like, why wouldn't there be divorces and problems in relationships? All right, so good news, this book is suggesting us some exercise that we can do that help us discover and develop what that is. Hey, I like this also. They're sharing here how this nurse, an Australian nurse, that wrote a book about basically the regrets that she had in life. And let's try to see if some of those things kind of touch us. So she noted her top 5 regrets. And number 1 was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself. What does that mean? And not the life others expected of me. That's what it means. Number 2, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Interesting. When we're hearing today that I don't go to sleep till my work is done and, suck it up and just do more. We think more is better. While in reality, it couldn't be further from the truth. Better is better. And the more you enjoy something, the less that you feel like you're working because you're interested in what you're doing and you're connecting with yourself. So how can what you do daily align more with yourself and your purpose? If you do so, then you're not expending as much energy because it's something you really want to do. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my emotions. Ooh. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in contact with my friends. Number 5, I wish I had allowed myself to be happier. Wow, I guess that is in good connection with this book. This is just the intro, people. Yeah, so they're saying here is because we're kind of pushing things off, when the kids are out of the house, I'll start living, or after I've finished my new project, after I bought the new car, after I moved into a new home. It's there's always some next part of life that when we feel that we do it, we feel that we could give ourselves a permission to enjoy life. So it's like we're never really living out our dreams. Then we say we don't have time, but then we end up spending like over 30 hours per week in front of our TV or our phones, or partying, or just trying to like forget the horrible life that we're living on an everyday basis. So it could be done with food, it could be done with forms of escapism, as you really do not like what's happening in your life. But yet you're too tired of doing anything about it. And that's my personal opinion. That's connected to lifestyle choices that we have that make us unequipped and unfit to have the vigor and reserve energy to do the things that matter to us, or to connect the things that matter to us to the things that we have to do every day. I don't know what they meant by this, but they're like, happiness is not for idiots. I don't know what they meant by that. But they're trying to say it's combining habits and methods that you can learn, and that will improve your personal as well as professional life. So that's at least what we could expect from it. It's not like just think happy thoughts and you'll magically be happy. No, there's like exercises, it's habits, there's methods behind it. Where are the benefits? You'll be more optimistic, and happy and optimistic workers perform better, they earn more, they sell more, and they are safer at their workplace, meaning that they are less prone to be let go. I feel if you're happier, you'll probably have an easier time to be in integrity with what matters to you in your life. You're able to have more energy to do what matters to you. So things are not like pushed off or repressed. And because of that, when you have integrity in your life, you have an extra reserve of energy because of that, because your subconscious knows that what you said you actually did, and what you're actually doing is actually meaningful to you. So there's like this infinite source of energy that comes from that. And when you're not in integrity, it's hard for you to keep new agreements because your subconscious knows that the last things that you've said you didn't do. That kind of like drains your morale, makes you doubt that you could do better in the future. All right, so now they're pulling out some stats here. They're trying to say that happiness is inner work, and external circumstances are only responsible for 10% of your happiness. The other 90% is how you act when faced with these circumstances and what attitude you choose to adopt. They're very interesting. I would just really love to dig more into that. So the first chapter that we'll tackle on together is accept that suffering is not always optional, but part and parcel of life itself. So I guess it's learning to adapt to the nature of things. So please join me for chapter 1 on our next video together. I mean, are you excited or what? It's going to be an amazing journey. You don't even have to go and read the book, but we're going to try living it together. So please comment what you would love to be able to get out of this experience together. And if you have suggestions to make this video better or this experience together even more interesting, please leave your comments, subscribe so that you have any updates, and we'll talk soon, everyone.